Open Heavens on the Go, Sunday, August 25th, 2024. Topic: Peer Pressure. Memory verse: 2 Corinthians 10:12. For we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves. But they, measuring themselves by themselves, and comparing themselves among themselves, are not wise. Bible reading: Romans 12:1-3. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. The message: peer pressure is one of the greatest enemies of a Christian. The most dangerous thing about it is that it is not specifically listed amongst the works of the flesh in Galatians 5:19-21, and so many Christians are not careful of it. Also, many people think that peer pressure only applies to teenagers, but it is also present among older people. For example, when you go to a wedding and you join your peers in dancing to worldly songs because you don't want them to see you sitting aside, that is peer pressure making you do something against God's will. You cannot please God and man at the same time. King Saul tried to please men, and he displeased God as a result. He lost his throne and died a shameful death. 1 Samuel 31:1-6. Don't try to dress like the world because you don't want to seem left out. Don't try to use dirty slangs to show that you are also familiar with current trends. Many years ago, I was a guest minister somewhere, and when the man of God who was to introduce me went to the altar to do the introduction, he said that he liked everything about me except the way I dressed, like a hunter, with my short-sleeved suits. I replied that I am not a hunter, I am a soldier. His remarks did not make me change the way I dress, even though my colleagues were wearing flowing agbada around that time. Today, God has raised me very high amongst my colleagues. Children of God are not influenced by peer pressure. They are led by the Spirit of God. Romans 8:14. When a Christian starts doing things because of what people will say or think, such a believer has stopped being led by the Spirit of God, and the fellow is already losing his or her sonship. The Word of God says in 2 Corinthians 6:17 that you must be separate. If people are to be seen as your peers, let them be people who have separated themselves for Christ. Amongst these people, you can bow to the peer pressure of who is praying the longest, who has memorized more scriptures, who wins the most number of souls per day, etc. That is the only kind of peer pressure that is good for a Christian. Pressure to please God more and draw closer to Him, not pressure that relates to carnal things. Reflection. Are your actions influenced by other people's perception of you or by the Spirit of God? Bible reading in 1 year, Ezekiel 9-12. Hymn for today, yield not to temptation. The Open Heavens is written by Pastor E.A. Adeboye, the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. God bless you.